Hey there, everyone. This is Alex Brewer, and this is Talking with Alex, episode 3 here. And yes, I'm outside right now at my parents' house. It's very nice outside. Sorry, guys, I have my sunglasses on. I was in a Zoom call with the family for a little while. But yeah, so I do have a very special interview for you guys today. My friends and I usually do Zoom calls once a week, and this week we kind of hit what was going on and movie industry. So I will turn that over to the interview. So I hope you guys enjoy the interview.
Just go on my Facebook post and look there.
Joe, you can say what you want to say. Just don't.
Just say, do you agree or disagree?
I strongly disagree. That's all you need to know. If I was not working yesterday, I would have been in Lansing, 100%.
Would you have brought your gun?
Hell yeah, I would have been there chanting with them. Let us in, let us in.
So what would you say then? Let's say she didn't extend it to May 28th. Okay, let's say she ended it, and a bunch of people started getting sick again. Then what would you say?
Oh well, sorry, it's gonna happen anyway.
That's the spirit.
Can't stop
Joe.
it. Sorry.
Well, you think she's going to extend Michigan there, Joe?
It's meant to be. It's meant to be.
Oh yeah, is that right? How about the whole extending of the restaurants and bars and theaters?
She wants to crash the economy. Let her do it. I'm not gonna say nothing no more. You guys, no one cares, so I don't care anymore. Let it happen.
But Joe, what's more important, the economy or human lives?
Good question.
The virus is it's so far overblown. It's not even funny. Like I said, I work with the public. I see it every day. People are acting like if nothing's ever happened. The only thing they're doing is wearing masks because they're being scared into doing it. Beyond that, no one really cares.
Well, I care and driving at home because it'll kill my grandma, it could kill my child, it could kill my aunt and uncle.
Yeah. So I heard a statistic the other day that said, and this only resonated because I took a class about this in college, that so far more people have died from coronavirus than were killed in Vietnam.
Well, here's the thing about the.
No, not in the United States.
Well, here's the thing about that too. So a couple of things. So I'd like to say first that according to Dr. Chris, one of the big doctors there at Beaumont, saying that that we are flattening the curve right now, saying that social distancing is working. They are slowly opening up Michigan in phases right now. That's
right. The next phase starts May 7th. It's the construction. Construction.
Yes. And
so you guys.
So we already opened up our doors already today, and are just starting this week. We already opened up our doors. That's because we were working with a grow plant.
Are you guys doing residential calls or no?
Yes, we are. We're all pretty much all booked. Our commercial guys are all over at Livewell. It's a big grow plant that's been going on since the quarantine, and my dad started going there last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
But anyway, so the curve's been flattening. Dr. Hutchinson got an email from the state of Michigan saying that they're opening up in phases, that this whole 6 feet is working across the country, and they're not really concerned about a second wave, but if there was, they are prepared for it, and going from there. But the second thing is too that a lot of these people are not dying because of the coronavirus. A lot of these people are dying from cancer, part of
Yeah, and they're counting it as coronavirus.
Yeah, they are
Because
counting
they
it,
get more money for it.
and they're counting more deaths. But yet again, if you think about it, there's statistics saying that there's been 30,000 people dying death of coronavirus, and 1,800 have been cured of this. This has been around since November, guys.
Yeah, most of my coworkers and I've already had it. It's been here since last year. A lot of us have already had it. I've already had it. My mom's already had it.
Hold on. Joe, how do you know you've already had it?
I had it back in March. I've more than likely did. I get bronchitis, and I believe because I had my inhalers already, I was fine. But I mean,
you had the high fever and everything.
I didn't have no fever. All I had was a cough, which I normally always get around that time of year. I get a really heavy cough, cough up mucus, sore throat, runny nose. I had it for about a week, and it was gone.
Huh.
But how do you know it was coronavirus and not bronchitis or something?
Well, I get bronchitis every year around March, so I believe it was. I don't know. It could have just been bronchitis. Probably was. I never got tested. I don't care.
Well,
so
my sister had it back in December.
You think?
She thinks she had it, but yet again, she had all the symptoms. She had the fever. She had the aches. She
could have just had the flu.
She tested negative for the flu. They thought it was bronchitis, but it still wasn't testing for that either. So everything that they tested her for wasn't coming up because they didn't think to test her corona, and she was really, really sick.
Yeah.
She should have the antibody. She should have the antibody test then. That'll tell her if she had it.
Alex, she had the shortness of breath, right?
Yeah, she did. I mean, every time she'd walk upstairs to her bedroom, like she would be out of breath. She would complain because her body has been hurting.
Well, why doesn't she get the antibody test?
They don't come out till next week. The antibody test doesn't come out till next week.
She could still have it.
I mean, you can still she still may have a chance of getting it. you still have, everyone right now can be a carrier right now, but nobody will have the symptom. That's the issue.
Asymptomatic, I know.
But
that's
hey, Joe, where did you go for med school? Just out of curiosity.
Fox 2 News. That's where I went.
Oh my God!
Once you have it, you can't get it
If
again.
you'd gotten a lobotomy, that would actually be better medical education.
More than once either, and my aunt had it multiple times.
Really?
So you can always get something more than once. Just because you had it means nothing.
That's right, because people get the flu more than once, or they get bronchitis, as you said, Joe. You get it every year. Although bronchitis is a bacterial infection, it's not a viral infection.
Right. Well, they're going to have a vaccine. What's sad is, we're not going to go back to normal until they get this stupid vaccine, which is not going to happen until next year, probably early next year.
Well,
no, I agree, yes.
Did you hear about California, that they've canceled all their concerts and sporting events till further notice?
Yeah. Hey, Gavin Newsom, he's a real communist.
Oh, I can't.
Joe, what is communism? Just out of curiosity.
Controlling the people's lives in every aspect, telling them what to do, think, and say.
It's an economic system where the government owns everything.
That's right.
Both wrong.
Right.
Without no fans. I mean, NASCAR is restarting up their series. I think next week.
Next week, but there's gonna be no audience.
Yeah, but NASCAR's so loud you can't even hear the audience anyways. So you don't need the pump from the audience to win a race.
Left turn.
Hey,
True that.
Adam.
Well, look at hockey. Now they're talking about doing hockey, starting that back up in July.
Yep. They're starting that in July. Same with NBA.
My little souvenir from the IMAX NASCAR movie.
Hey,
Ooh.
speaking of, do you collect race cars there, Ron?
No.
I was gonna say I have 2 race cars.
These
I have 2 race cars besides of that I have for sale right now.
This is how old this is. When America Online sponsored NASCAR.
I remember it.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, Ron, what has Cinemark told you guys? Has they given you any updates or no?
From what I know so far, they're gonna be calling us back in the middle of June. Around the middle of June. Yeah. And Tenet will reopen theaters. The movie Tenet, Nolan's film.
Really?
On July 18th.
June 8th?
No, July 17th. July 17th.
Oh, July 17th?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to see a movie till July?
Well, no, the theaters will reopen before then, but the first new movie will be July 17th.
Oh, so you're going to have all reruns then? Like all stuff that's been out for a long time?
Right, correct.
Oh, wow. Well, like, so what are you guys going in the middle of June for? You guys got to sanitize everything or what?
Well, see, closing down these buildings was relatively easy. Basically, all we did was shut everything off and throw out all the food.
Right.
So they got to order more food, and we've got to power everything back up. And therein lies one of the pitfalls with digital as opposed to analog. You turn some of this stuff off, which normally never gets shut off.
Right.
And you try to power it back on, guess what? Sometimes it doesn't come back on. And then you got to troubleshoot what the hell's wrong and shit. So it took me it took me 2 days to shut down that booth. It's probably going to take a week to get back up.
Oh wow.
Wow.
At least.
See, I thought you just turn on a bunch of computers and call it a day. I thought, oh, yeah.
Really, no?
No.
Hey,
No,
That's why you paid.
Because you got to
Huh?
power and make sure that you got to make sure all the content is there and that everything. Yeah, it's a lot involved.
Well, that's why they're paying you the big bucks, Ron.
Well,
all right, I got a little question for Adam here. So with this whole AMC and Regal dispute with Universal with the breach of contract, how, like, in your point of view, because you're probably in that, I mean, you're probably gonna be in that field, or I guess you can say, what's your feelings about that whole situation?
Depends on what the contract said, and I don't have the contract. A lot of contracts, if they're smart, will have what's called a force majeure clause, which basically says that, if there's an emergency like a war or an outbreak of disease or an earthquake or some shit, and you can't follow through, that's not considered a breach. But it depends on what the contract is. I haven't read it, so I can't really speak up. If Universal broke it, AMC is in their rights to refuse to do business with them in the future, but unless there's other contracts.
Yeah, Adam, you're exactly correct, because when I would negotiate all the IMAX film contracts for the Henry Ford, there was always what you're talking about, the force majeure, which was acts of God and all this other kind of stuff.
It almost never comes up, but this is one circumstance where it is.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So, Ron,
yeah.
Why is AMC closing all these theaters down then that are not going to reopen?
They already declared. Think about Chapter 11. Sorry, Ron.
That's okay. These are locations, Joe, that they don't own, that they pay rent on, and they've stopped paying the rent. Case in point, in our area, the AMC Star Southfield at 12 Mile Road and Northwestern Highway, that used to be a Star Theater.
Right.
and AMC, and took them over, and they've not renewed their lease. So that's why that one is
So-
closing.
So they were planning on closing it anyway. Then probably they were just. It just happened to fall
Well-
during this.
They need to conserve cash because they've overextended themselves. So what they're doing is they are closing, these locations that were rentals, a lot of them, and they're
Right.
keeping that they own, the ones that are the highest grossing theaters. And in our market, for AMC, it's their two biggest ones are the Forum 30 at Mound Road and Hull Road, Mound and
Right.
out by guys, and the Livonia 20 in Livonia.
Okay.
Yep.
Those two they're keeping for sure.
But do you
Well,
think-
right. So to answer the question is, so they were going to do this anyway, then probably even before the virus. But
No.
it just happened.
No, they weren't going to do it anyway. No.
So,
Now,
but
but-
to save money, and keep the company profitable, they're just they're trimming the fat. Is what you're saying?
To keep from having to file for bankruptcy.
Right. They're trimming the fat to keep the company. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Now, do you think
I got it.
AMC will declare Chapter 11 bankruptcy, though? That's the question, because a lot of people are saying that after this, they may do that.
It depends on if they're able to reopen in July. If they're not able to reopen in July, then I'm going to say yes. Okay.
Well, then what about company? Go ahead.
Because if they can't open in July, by the end of July and into August, they're going to run out of cash, and in that
Right.
case, they have no choice but to declare bankruptcy. On the other hand, if they can open in mid-July and start drawing revenue with Tenet and Mulan, then they'll be okay. I mean, they're not going to be totally out of the red by any means, but it will stave off the bankruptcy.
Now, is that just AMC's situation, or is that Cinemark, Imagine, MJR? Are they all in the same boat, or is that just AMC?
No, it's just AMC at this point because they're the largest theater chain. They're owned by the Daly and Wanda Group, which is a Chinese conglomerate, and
Right.
they've just overextended themselves with, screen count. Cinemark has cash reserves. They're fine. MJR, Imagine, they're regional chains, so they're fine. Even IMAX has cash reserves, and they're pretty much okay too. Even though all the Chinese theaters haven't reopened yet, and that's a major market.
So as you're saying, as long as we open the theaters before the end of the year, all the other chains, like you said, Imagine, Cinemark, and MJR, they should be fine.
As long as we have somewhat of a summer. So if they open in midway through July, you figure they've got a good month and a half there where they can start drawing revenue until Labor Day when schools reopen, assuming schools will reopen for the fall.
They will.
Yeah.
They better.
But it's all hinging on this so-called tentpole films. You've heard that term before, tentpole movies?
Yeah, because you got your summer blockbusters.
Right. So you're talking, all the sequels, the big high-profile sequels, Ghostbusters, Top Gun, Mulan, or the remakes.
Right.
Didn't they all get moved back a year?
A lot of them did, yeah.
I know.
A lot of the ones that were in production did, yeah.
I know. So far that I know of is that Venom, Let There Be Carnage, got moved back.
Batman got moved back.
Batman.
Spider-Man, Doctor Strange,
everything got postponed like about a year later of each
Here,
other.
here's my prediction. So I think the theaters will reopen in July, but because they're going to have to still at that point have to adhere to the strict social distancing guidelines, Hollywood and the studios and the theater chains will be lucky to break even, number one.
Right, because all these people are going to be afraid to go to the theater. Go ahead.
Exactly. That's exactly it. People are going to be afraid to go for the time being. I don't see things rebounding until we get towards the end of the year and the holiday season.
Yeah, because I know me and you, Ron, discussed it over the phone a couple weeks ago that it's going to take, 6 months for the economy to get back to normal again before this whole thing happened.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
So.
At least. And the same with industries like the airlines and the cruise industry. Will it take at least that long?
It'll take a while.
I will return.
All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. So a couple of quick things before we get out of here. So the sports aspect has been shifted as you know it with this whole COVID-19. But I do want to say first that all of the cases here in Michigan, I know we're one of the hot spots here. According to one of the Beaumont doctors, Dr. Chris Hutchinson, former Michigan football player, now works at Beaumont Hospital, and he was getting interviewed by 97.1 Ticket here in lovely Michigan. Our sports talk radio, but now it's kind of just talk radio now because there's no sports. But he kind of was telling us that that the cases of COVID-19 has been flattening. So the curve of us has been flattening here. There's about 1 to 2 patients in the COVID floor, which is pretty good to hear. So that's pretty much a positive note. And they're slowly opening up Michigan in phases, with the first phase coming in on May 7th with the construction companies. Right now, they did just extend all the restaurants, bars, movie theaters, and other social stuff to the end of May. So we're getting there, guys. But that was a good note, guys. It was on a good note. So let's turn back to sports. That this weekend was supposed to be the Kentucky Derby, and I do have it on at my house right now. They're doing all the reruns for past Kentucky Derbies, which is kind of cool to relive all those old moments. So NASCAR is starting back up their racing and stuff like that. So, but really, who watches NASCAR? They only go left turn every time. But you know what? Some of the NASCAR fans really think that this is a real sport. Okay, cool. Yes, it is. Okay, people are getting paid for it. But there's gonna be no spectators there at all. But really, what's the point of having spectators there if you can't really hear yourself cheering and stuff? You hear the roaring of the engines of the cars. Then the NHL, on the other hand, is supposed to be starting up their season mid-June or towards the end of June and starting in July. They're just doing a bunch of mini camps and exhibitions like they would do in preseason, and they'll get back into it. I think they might be doing like a 24-team playoff. I think they're going to extend the playoffs here. So I think they're just going to do a few regular season games, finish that up, and they're going to be starting with the playoffs here. NBA, there's been a lot of arguing and issuing about having the season be canceled. If they do have a season, it'll be starting up here end of May, beginning of June, towards the beginning of July. So we'll probably be seeing sports all year round, which is nice. MLB will be starting up here. I don't know. They want to say they will start in June. They want to start up in June or July. Not sure what they decided on doing, but yeah. So that's what they're thinking. But they're thinking that the MLB might be going to like November, so they're going to be having designated areas to have the World Class or the Fall Classic World Series at. So we'll have NFL starting in September. That's what they're projecting, is starting all their games and stuff in September, as they just finished all their drafts. The draft last week, and all that stuff. So I will give you guys a whole recap of the NFL draft, but you guys can look it up. I'm not gonna recap all the NFL draft. All you know is Burrow and Joe Burrow and Chase Young and Jeffrey Okudah went 1, 2, and 3. There was no trades at all. Tua obviously went to the Dolphins. Okay, the guy's your guy. But that's it. So I'm gonna say first couple picks that were really important. Critical. But yeah, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see. And stay safe, stay healthy, survive and thrive. If you guys like this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment too as well to give me your input about today's episode. Don't forget to click on that bell to make sure that when I do post more videos, you guys will get notified. Have a great day, guys.